Welcome to the Jerry Gray channel. This is a channel that talks about narcissism and everything in between. Let me go ahead and jump straight into the topic. In this video, we'll be addressing how narcissists create problems for. Um, it's important to understand how they create the problems so that you can know how to get around them. It's kind of like learning how things are put together so that you can take it apart if you need to, right? So, narcissists, what they like to do is they try to make things more complex than what they have to be. Doesn't matter what it is, they're always trying to find some way to add complexity to it. If you're working at a job, you know, people are constantly trading hours and days. And if you're in prison is a very good example of this. Like people trading food, like tater tots. And oh, if you got tater tots next week, I'm gonna get your Pop Tart. But since you got your Pop Tart this today, and I have to wait till next week, you have to give me even more. You know, you got to give me your Pop Tart and half of your orange. You know, and that's interest. And then next week comes around, they're like, you know what? I owe that guy over there a box of cigarettes. So instead of paying me your tater tots and your orange, or your Pop Tart and your orange, how about you give it to him? And we'll be even. And just, all this stupid stuff, people gambling. You can't People just can't go and just do their time. Let's gamble. Let's have something to argue about eventually. And that's how narcissism is. They don't want things to be too quiet. It's too quiet around here. Let's get some gambling going. Let's form a gang. Let's have a popular table. Let's exclude somebody. Let's make things really complicated around here. Every time they explain something to you, they have to take a roundabout way of explaining it. If you ask them a simple question, they can't just give you the answer. They have to go all around the world and under the bridge and across the river before they can finally come to a conclusion to what they're saying, which really probably is still going to be the answer. Or you like, dude, you could have just simply said that, or when they're doing something, they add extra things to it, and just all of this complexity is just to make it where there's just more chances of something to argue about. There's more chances of things going wrong. The more complex things get, the more confused people get, and the more confused someone gets, the more angry they'll be. So it's just kind of like you want to keep things simple when you're dealing with these people. Stay away from anything, obviously, anything like that, gambling, anything in general, anything that you're talking about. You always want to slow things down and take everything at a turtle's pace. Don't let them move too fast in explaining something to you, and just really slow everything down. Make everything as simple as possible when dealing with them, and just in general, like your whole life, everything in your life, you want to start trying to simplify it so that you can get more things done, because it makes you start thinking in a more complex, overthought way. Just by being around them all day, you start overthinking things, which makes it where you start kind of, going a little bit crazy per se, not literally crazy, but you know, you start thinking in a very toxic way, because you get caught into that fog, or that momentum that they got going. Everything I don't know, but the point is that the solution is to always be simplifying what you do at work. Avoid any groups that don't need to be a group. Don't try to go and sit with the cool crowd, and you know keep everything simple. If you're there to work, focus on your work. Anything else, like even in conversation, don't talk about all this other stuff. You start out getting to talk about something that where you feel like you're getting to know them, and next you know they're, even the conversations start getting complicated. You're talking about, if you allow it, you're talking about your problems and deeper stuff, and then next you know they're talking about the Illuminati, or what I mean, like stuff that is just has nothing to do with what you're doing. All this idle conversation, and that's just in general. Like, cut down the idle conversation, even with people that you don't think are narcissists, you know, because that just gives the narcissist an ability to jump in on the conversation and make it more toxic and complicated. And then the next thing you know, everybody's fighting or somebody's arguing about something. You're arguing about whether God exists or something that has nothing to do with anything, you know. Um, So they thrive on complexity. You can beat that with simplifying, and just focusing on what you need to get done. And that's the video. Peace.